Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome again to Ideas at Work and Beyond. Wow, last week was exciting. We had Hollywood royalty right here on this set. We had Robert Vaughn, the man from U.N.C.L.E. That was pretty exciting. Yeah. The week before that, we had minor league hockey, not the Trashers, but the mighty Mad Hatters hockey team. That was exciting too. I forgot what happened the week before. My short-term memory loss is gone. It has to do with the 70s, high school. It's a long story. But this evening, we are going to focus on something. This is something that you'll be able to talk about not only with your grandkids, but with your great-grandkids. We have people on the show this evening that were not only part of the inauguration, but they were actually attended the inauguration. They were part of the audience that some have estimated as upwards of 2 million fellow Americans on the Mall in Washington, D.C., seeing history unfold in front of their very eyes. The first inauguration of an African-American president. Who thought it would ever happen? I remember we talked about this briefly right after the inauguration, and I laid out the sort of leap from the Gettysburg Address of Abraham Lincoln, who Barack Obama talks about a lot, forward to the I Have a Dream speech of Martin Luther King, followed up by Barack Obama's victory speech, not to be confused with what you're seeing on your screen right now, his inauguration address, which I thought was great, and I have the text for it right here. But you see a continuation, the American dream unfolding. Once again, in the midst of a recession, in the middle of 2 wars that we're fighting, America has once again reinvented itself, literally and figuratively, put a new face to the world, and that face is our new president, Barack Obama. So I am delighted this evening. We're going to have people calling in that were there. Ivan Alsamy was there with his wife and 3 young sons seeing history. And I would like to very much welcome Barbara Levitt to the program this evening. Thank you very much. And of course, the guy who's put this whole show together, Al Robinson.
How are you?
Hat City Blog. The man that single-handedly strikes terror into the heart of local politicians and Mayor Bowden, and you got to see his Hat City Blog. My advice, don't get on the wrong side of Al Robinson. That's another show.
Another show.
Tonight, it's Obama, 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 and just sort of digesting what happened. But just briefly, Barbara, you own a store called Upscale Downtown. And what's the address of this store?
262 Main Street,
262?
right across the street from the post office,
okay,
in City Center, Danbury.
All right. Well,
it's a consignment shop.
And you're originally from Brooklyn?
Yes.
And you were at the inauguration?
Yes, I was.
Give us your impressions of that day.
Well, it was an early day. We began at 1:30 in the morning, meeting at the New Hope Baptist Church. I was very excited to go with them. We had been to a fundraiser concert a few weeks before at the Winer's house, and there were several people there from the church, and Reverend Pitts said that if Obama wins, we're going to have a really big party the next night. So we didn't wait till the next night. My husband and I went the night of the election, and we made the party because that's the night they had it.
Okay.
And we stayed. We were going to go for 15-20 minutes, and we stayed for about 3.5 hours.
This is the night of the election.
The night of the election.
Watching the returns come.
And we watched everything. We met people we never thought we'd see there. We saw wonderful people and excited people and children, and there was food all over the place, and you know, Jews and African Americans eat a lot, so there has to be food at celebrations.
Okay.
So we had lots of people.
So you're Jewish?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right.
And
you are African American.
Yeah. How about that?
Excellent. I know. Okay.
And we both like to eat, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we stayed there until I think it was the last state that took them over the top, and we jumped up and down and hugged and everybody, and just said we saw people there crying, and people much older than us, if you can believe that, and they were just really, really excited. And I remember seeing President John Kennedy in my neighborhood in Brooklyn. I remember seeing Robert Kennedy, and I remember the politics a little bit, but my father was involved in politics. In fact, he ran for a House of Representatives seat, I think it was, in the early 30s on the Socialist Party. And he was the big liberal of all of my college friends' parents. And so all my friends loved my father because everybody was against the war and everybody else's parents were not.
So that's where we got the liberal. Where you went to school?
I went to Brooklyn College.
Brooklyn College, okay. And so parents of the other students were generally in favor of the president?
They were Archie Bunker types.
Oh, okay,
but my father was Tom Paxton, Joan Baez, and he bought the records.
Oh, okay.
And he sang the songs, and he was against the war and against Nixon, and he was my background. He took me to the concerts, and so that's
Woodstock?
where my background. No, actually not Woodstock, but many concerts of protest music.
Were you at this party as well?
No,
Same party, different?
I was not at the party. Actually, I was covering the local races during that day.
Oh, okay.
Because I was live blogging on my website. So I was actually at Democratic headquarters getting the returns of all the other races, the state Senate races, the state rep races. So I wasn't able to watch the results come in because I was so busy doing interviews and doing stuff like that. It wasn't until around, I would say 11 o'clock where I had an opportunity to actually see the official results. And I kind of knew by, let's say like around 9:30 it was basically over because I have a good idea of the electoral college system.
What was it like if North Carolina was going for Barack Obama, you knew?
Yeah, you looked at 9 o'clock, you saw the states that were going Obama's way. When he got Indiana, I think he got North Carolina, I think Pennsylvania.
I saw an interesting analysis of that. Indiana, North Carolina, two very big basketball states. This was in Sports Illustrated. But they said that the basketball connection didn't hurt. Anyways, for those two states.
Pretty much by that time it was over. So I looked at that, I said, all right, hey, he won, great. Then I had to get back to work because I was actually covering a lot of stuff. And as you know, we covered a lot of races here.
Yeah, that was.
So it was pretty busy.
Okay, let's fast forward the clock now. This is election night, but tonight we're talking about the inauguration.
Right.
Had you always had it in your mind that you were going to attend this inauguration, or did this sort of come up after the election?
I think it sort of worked its way through.
Okay.
And the people at New Hope said they were taking a bus, and by the time I called, the bus had been almost full, except Reverend Pitts, my good friend, said, my wife and I are going by car, and you can have my two last seats.
Wow.
So Darla Shaw, who's a professor at WestCon, who couldn't be here tonight because she's teaching, and I took those two last seats and went with the busload of people leaving at 1:30 from the church. We had an association with the church also before because our synagogue that we belong to used people from the church to drive a van for two events that we've had. So they have helped us out a great deal, and we plan to do some interfaith programs with them. So we are really excited. I'm feeling like we're Baptists all. Maybe they feel like they're Jewish all, I don't know. But we say hallelujah.
A little mazel tov. It works together.
It works together.
I can see that.
Right.
You know, actually, I mean, not to get historical, but really the civil rights movement, there was a very profound Jewish
African-American connection.
In the movie Mississippi Burning, weren't those young men that died down there? They were Jewish as well, right?
Two of them.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's a big history of that, certainly.
Absolutely.
That we were brought up with.
Well, great. Well, this is very interesting. What were your impressions of the inauguration itself? And I know we have some people calling in too. But that day, what were your feelings?
The first one was cold.
Okay.
The second one was that we got there very quickly on the bus. And the third one was we didn't get anywhere quickly after that for the rest of the day.
Well, we're talking moving around. They've estimated 2 million people.
Right.
I don't know. Here's some pictures.
Yeah, I don't think they were quite prepared for 2 million people because I think that the whole thing at RFK Stadium with the parking was great, and the shuttle after that was only an hour wait and an hour to wherever we were going, and after that it was kind of hopeless and going downhill.
And there was really no place to go to warm up. It was pretty cold.
There were no place to warm up anywhere. It was really.
We're still not warmed up. We discussed that this afternoon.
That was really cold. I've never experienced cold like that before.
Caller, you're on the air.
Mr. Heiser.
Hello, how are you? Who is this?
This is Ivan.
Oh, Ivan, how are you? This is Ivan Elsme. Ivan is the founder of this program.
Oh.
The title, Ideas at Work and Beyond, and the statues of Haitian patriots are still the lead into this show, Ivan, because you're the man.
Oh, thank you.
Now, Ivan, I saw pictures of you and your wife and your 3 kids at the inauguration. What were your impressions of being there?
Well, let me say this. I read and heard everything about Martin Luther King, the march in Washington, D.C., and to me, it was a family event. This was our march. It wasn't just an inauguration. It was something that I can say it was phenomenal. And having my family there to experience, mind you now, we walk with a crowd in D.C. to the monument.
We're showing pictures right now of the crowd. It's incredible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And to be able to have my wife and my kids, even the baby, basically walk in D.C., to me, my experience is this. I wasn't there for the inauguration. I went there to take Obama home, to help him go home, because I felt that finally, we are in the house that was built with the blood in the back of slaves. And for him to be able to now be in the house, it was quite a scene. And I guess my wife would probably have a different experience, and of course my kids. Makai, my oldest one, he loves Obama. So it was wonderful.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that about the White House. In his inaugural speech, he says, talking about building up of America, he says, "For us, they toiled in sweatshop and settled the West. They endured the lash of the whip and plowed the hard earth. For us, they fought and died in places like Concord, Gettysburg, Normandy, and Quai Son." But the reflection on slavery and how literally slaves helped to build this country, endured the lash of the whip. He mentioned that in his inauguration speech. I thought that was important.
Oh, absolutely. And let me say this: you may not hear this, but if you read history, if you look hard enough, you will see that blacks, African Americans, and they have been in Congress since Reconstruction time.
Right.
So this is not, when you see African Americans in Congress now, this is not the first time. This is not a new era for us. Blacks have been in Congress for the longest time ever. But in order for them to reach the office of, the executive office, I think that it is quite an embarrassing moment for America when Obama sworn in, because it shouldn't have been at that time. It should have been way, way before that. So, but, we are there, and in terms of how we are internalizing this, well, at Howard, we are looking at a new discourse now. We believe that the communication is going to change. The way we see things in America is going to change. And it's going to be from a grassroots effort, because Obama has said many times, don't look just for him to change anything. We have to do it together. So everybody, black, white, Hispanics, and, Chinese, it doesn't matter who you are. You have to come together as one, as a collective group. And that is an Afrocentric perspective. So I just want people, to notice he is speaking from an Afrocentric perspective, and that is a new discourse that is in play.
Yeah, okay, let me just, by the way, for those of you that don't know, Ivan is pursuing his PhD at Howard University, And you're teaching college-level classes as well, right, Ivan?
Yes. I'm teaching. Yes, absolutely.
All right.
At the university.
What are your thoughts about that? As far as when in his inauguration speech, Barack talks a lot about bringing together everyone. You know, black and white. It says time and again, these men and women struggled and sacrificed and worked till their hands were raw so that they might build a better life. We saw America as bigger than the sum of our individual ambitions, greater than all the differences of birth or wealth or faction. So it seemed like in his inaugural speech, he's trying to be the president of all of America, not just Afrocentric, as you were talking about.
Well, no. Let me verify something. I said that if you listen to his speeches, he is speaking with an Afrocentric perspective. Because America, as we see it, is a individualistic society. And now he is speaking from a collectivistic perspective. So this whole collectivity coming together, everybody coming together, that is an Afrocentric perspective. So that's basically what I'm trying to say. And then too, if you look at it, we don't have the numbers across America to elect a black president, even if we want to.
I just happen to have those statistics here. In 2004, whites represented 66% of the population, blacks, as they refer to it in this pie chart, 13%, Asians 5%, Hispanics 14%, and indigenous 2%. By 2024, whites will be 58%, blacks will be 12%, again, as they refer to it in the pie chart, Asians 7%, Hispanic 21%, and indigenous 2%. So essentially, African Americans represent 12 to 13% of the population, yet Barack Obama won the highest office in the land. I think it says a lot about the rest of the pie.
And let me just elaborate.
Yeah, sorry. We have Al Robinson is here as well. Al?
Let me just elaborate on something.
Hey, Al.
I wouldn't necessarily say it was.
Hey, Al, how you doing?
How's it going, Ivan? We're going to show some video. We're going to show some. Hey, tell Lincoln I said hi.
Okay, thank you. I will.
I stayed down there with Ivan, and thanks a lot for the hospitality you showed me down there.
Anytime.
Later on in the show, we're going to show some video footage that I shot down there in D.C., as well as interviews that Ivan did with some people down at Howard University, which was pretty good. But let me just elaborate, or just pick up on something you said. I think Barack Obama symbolizes America, period, not just blacks or whites, but everybody. He always made it a point to say that in all his speeches. He's African Americans, whites, Asians.
Hey, Al, it's still America that should be.
Well, and let me just finish. And one of the great things about being down there, and if you stood there and you just looked around, you had the entire melting pot there.
It was beautiful.
It was gorgeous. You had this president that symbolizes that, and all the people around him. It was the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. And
because everybody felt that it was important to be there.
Right.
So I think it was just not that they voted, but that they really felt that it was important that they come and they show up that day.
Yeah,
because it was everybody's inauguration.
It was everybody's. I was not born when Martin Luther King gave his speech. I was too young to know Shirley Chisholm, who was actually the first African American to run for president, and a woman. I do recall somewhat of Jesse Jackson. I didn't go to the Million Man March, but I wanted to make sure that I made that event. I wanted to be there, and it was like a pilgrimage for a lot of people, and it was a special moment. I feel so sorry for people who did not go, because it was worth going through the cold and going through the suffering to be a part of that moment.
Martin Luther King says in his great speech, I Have a Dream, he says, with this faith we are able to hew out of the mountains of despair a stone of hope. With this faith we are able to transform a jangled discord of a nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood.
Right.
Dare I suggest that you witnessed a beautiful symphony of brotherhood that Martin Luther King was talking about?
Yeah, and it was incredible. And I'm sure you know, if you go back, when I came back home, I watched it on TV, it looks completely different.
Well,
than
first
what
of all, you can see it.
You can see
You
it.
were close. We saw practically nothing,
Right. Well,
but it was there.
Do you want to run into the video of us?
Yeah, Ivan, would you like to give us a little lead-in to Ivan's video?
Ivan's going to be coming up later on, Ivan's interviews, but what we have
Okay.
first is my experience down there in D.C. and where I stood at, and the images that I saw, as well as the parade when President Obama went right by me.
Excellent. All right, Ivan, we're cutting to the videotape.
All right, cool. I can't hear it, but go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
Dave, I think we have that queued up. And in the meantime, I will do interesting hand tricks.
By the way, who's
Yes.
guest beside Al?
We have Barbara Levin.
Okay. Hi, Barbara.
Hi.
I'm at the Metro at Howard University. It's a little late. Hopefully I get a good spot down there. At least I'm alone, so I can walk around on the grounds, and I'll see as close as I can get. We'll find out what happens, see if I can find anybody. But it is late. Real late.
Attention customers, any doors are closed.
There's a lot of people in here. There's a lot of people in here. This is about as close as I'm going to get, I think. There I am.
That is a good spot. I said we stayed till it tells us to leave.
I'm gonna try to get over there. I just gotta find a ticket. All right. I didn't have a ticket, and I'm gonna show you exactly where I'm at right now. Insane. All right. I'm going to show you where everybody else is at. There's everybody else. If you haven't noticed, I'm pretty close. I've got a great shot. Hopefully everything will go off fine here, and hopefully my camera won't die from all the gold. It's about 9:30. I'm going to shut it off. Hopefully save some battery power because I'm going low on this one. It's just too cold out here for the cameras. And I'll try to do interviews later. But wow, this is amazing. I can't believe I'm here, and I can't believe I'm so close for an incredible day like this. This is very cool. I'm getting a lot closer. Wow, look at this. Stop here. It's about as close as I want to get. Yeah, let me show you where I'm at.
Grateful for the trust you've bestowed, mindful of the sacrifices borne by our ancestors. I thank President Bush for his service to our nation.
He's still tearing them down.
As well as the generosity and cooperation he's shown throughout this transition.
Wow.
44 Americans have now taken the presidential oath. Words have been spoken during rising tides of prosperity and still waters of peace. Yet, every so often, the oath is taken amidst gathering clouds, raging storms. At these moments, America has carried on not simply because of the skill or vision of those in high office, but because we, the people, have remained faithful to the ideals of our forebears and true to our founding doctrines. So it has been, so it must be with this generation of Americans. That we are in the midst of crisis is now well understood. Our nation is at war against the far-reaching network of violence and hatred. Our economy is badly weakened, a consequence of greed and irresponsibility on the part of some, but also our collective failure to make hard choices, prepare the nation for a new age.
That was... You better go be a guy.
camera now. Looking the other way. Like, let me go over there and do something.
Wow, there's some live footage from our crack reporter at large, Al Robinson. Now, Al, you were mentioning as that footage went on, you didn't have a pass to get to some of those places. You just were able to breach security.
Well, not breach. It was just I was at the right place at the right time. I came out, as you can tell, at the train station,
right,
and I had two choices to go. I can either go up towards the Capitol, I can go back to where you were at the monument. And I said, well, you know what?
No
Let
point
me just
going
take a
that
chance
way.
to see if I can get in here. And if I can't get in, what's the worst that
Going
can
up
happen?
to the front row.
The worst that can happen is they throw me out. So I took a chance and I got in.
All right. We're going to have some more videotape footage of Ivan, who was there. And Barbara, you had a thought?
No, I was just going to say that surprisingly enough, that one of the members of our synagogue, Congregation B'nai Israel, is Meryl Axelrod, who happens to be the mother of David Axelrod, who she now lives in an assisted living place in Newton, Massachusetts. But she was there. There's a beautiful picture of her. She got to go to the ball. She's got a wonderful, famous son now, and one of the things I talked to Reverend Pitts about was, wouldn't it be nice on his way to visit his mom if he stopped in Danbury and we could get him to be not only on your show,
Of course.
but
But
also to speak.
Tell the audience who he is.
David Axelrod, I
Yeah.
hope they know who he is.
Well.
He's the chief of staff for President Obama.
Excellent.
And quite a strategist, I would say.
Well, he did a good job. Okay, we're going to break for the news and weather, and then we're going to come back with some more footage from the inauguration of Ivan. We have a couple people calling in. So stay tuned, and here is the news and weather.
Now covering Danbury, Bethel, and Ridgefield local news with Austin Greenfield and weather with meteorologist Jared Root right here on Comcast Channel 23.
And hello everyone, welcome to this edition of Ideas at Work and Beyond, News and Weather. I am newscaster Austin Greenfield alongside meteorologist Jared Root.
Thank you.
And we're going to start with the news, and we're going to start with more Danbury Food Service Inspection Report for the week of February the 4th. And all of these have re-inspection required. If I don't say the name of the restaurant, that means it's good. We're going to start with Bagel Mart, who got a score of 73. Lack of operable refrigerator thermometers, food not protected, poor food handling practices, food contact service in poor repair, dishwashing sink in need of repair, inadequate sanitation procedures, food contact service not clean, presence of flies, re-inspection required.
I would.
Barca Restaurant, Wine and Bar, 93 Mill Plain Road, they got a score of 85. Potentially hazardous foods do not meet temperature requirements, lack of refrigerator thermometer, food not protected, re-inspection required. Danbury Plaza, 18 Old Richbury Road, they got a score of 83. Potentially hazardous food do not meet temperature requirements, refrigerator thermometers not maintaining foods at proper temperature, food container stored on floor, inadequate temperature of a dish machine sanitation cycle, re-inspection required.
Wow.
Fortune Cookies, I go there all the time. The Chinese place on 39B Mill Plain Road. Jared and I went there once. Re-inspection. Re-inspection due to prior failure. Potentially hazardous food did not meet temperature requirements. Improper cooling procedures. Potentially hazardous food improperly thawed. Food container stored on floor. Poor food handling practice. Inadequate sanitation procedures. Closure warning issued.
Ooh, I don't think we should go there.
No. King Street Intermediate School got a score of 92. Potentially hazardous foods did not meet temperature requirements. Lack of refrigerator thermometer. Inadequate sanitizer concentration. Re-inspection required. Marcel's Place got a score of 78 on 39 Chestnut Street. Potentially hazardous foods did not meet temperature requirements. Toxic items improperly stored, inadequate hand washing by food worker, food not protected, food container stored on floor, food contact surface in poor repair, inadequate sanitation procedures, no qualified food designated alternate on duty, re-inspection required. Milano's Gourmet Deli got a score of 76. Potentially hazardous foods do not meet temperature requirements, toxic item not labeled, food not protected, poor food handling practice, food contact service in poor repair, inadequate sanitation procedures, no qualified food operator or designated alternate on duty, re-inspection required. Ruby Tuesday, Jared and I, we go here all the time. They got a score of 76. Potentially hazardous foods do not meet temperature requirements, refrigerator not maintaining foods at adequate temperature, poor food handling practice, poor hygienic practice, food contact surface in poor repair, dish machine in need of service, inadequate temperature of a dish machine sanitation cycle, lack of hot water at hand sink, and this is disgusting, evidence of roaches. Ugh.
Ooh.
Re-inspection required.
All right.
Last but not least, Tropical Ices and Coffee Shop got a 91 on 42 Elm Street. Potentially hazardous foods do not meet temperature requirements, refrigeration unit not maintaining food at adequate temperature, food not protected, re-inspection required. So there you have it, folks. That's the latest food inspection reports for the city of Danbury. Jared, what do you think?
I'll tell you, I'm not hungry anymore.
Neither am I. Neither am I. So let's go right into the weather.
Well,
What's going on?
We got some cold weather coming up, or actually cold weather here right now. Very cold temperatures, Austin. You ready to get your blanket, your heat on, cranked up high? You're gonna need it tonight, I'll tell you that. It's gonna be last night we had a low temperature of 4 degrees. It's gonna be matching that again tonight. Let's get right into the almanac. Here's your high temperature for today. Degrees with that wind. Digits to even below 0 this morning. But tonight the winds are going to die down. We had a low temperature of 4 degrees and no precipitation today. Weather headlines: bitterly cold temperatures for the overnight. Again, wind chills early tonight will be down in the single to below 0 numbers, but as the night goes on, those winds are going to calm down, so you won't have to worry about the temperature with the wind chill factor later tonight. Tomorrow will be sunny, but a cold day, but won't be as cold as it was for today. Temperatures up in the upper 20s, and we're going to have a warming trend for the weekend. And here's your forecast for tonight. We have clear skies and frigid temperatures. Low temperatures in the upper teens, 16 degrees Bethel, 16 degrees Danbury, and 17 degrees in Ridgefield. Friday we'll have mostly sunny skies, cold temperatures, highs in the upper 20s, 27 Bethel, 28 in Danbury, and 28 in Ridgefield. And here's your 5-day forecast. A cold night again for Friday night and early Saturday morning, but we warm up to 41 degrees as your high temperature on Saturday. Even Sunday, we'll have a temperature of 50 degrees. That snowflake, though, that's going to be very early in the morning as we have a low temperature, early morning low temperature of 30 degrees. So between that time as a little frontal system goes through, it could be a snow shower, but better chance that that won't happen. But we're going to go up to 50 degrees. It's going to feel like spring out there. When we start to cool back down Monday and Tuesday, partly to mostly sunny skies, high temperatures 37 Monday and 39 on Tuesday. Well, that does it for the news and weather. When we return, we'll join our program.
Okay, thanks for that news and weather. It's cold. It's really cold. It's bitter cold. When you have numbers in the single digits like that, it's cold. It's not good, but it's going to warm up. They told us, our meteorologist. Ivan, we're going to go straight to your videotape of the inauguration. What are we going to see?
What you are going to see is a bunch of Howard University students from everywhere in the United States giving us their perspective, their feelings on the whole inauguration and the whole Obama movement.
Okay, let's go to the videotape.
This is Ivan Alsame. Welcome to Washington, D.C. Today is Wednesday, post-inauguration. We're calling this time the Obama era. This is definitely a new, different dynamic, different perspective, different way of life. And I don't know about you guys, but when I got up this morning, I could just smell a new fresh of air. I mean, this is the day, definitely the day. And I am currently at Howard University. This is my alma mater. I am here also and teach, and I'm going to school here. I can't explain to you how I feel and how the students here feel about this new era. And what we're going to do, we're going to interview some of the students later on for them to give us their perspective on this beautiful era. Obama, the Obama community, that's what we have become. We have become part of the Obama community. So stay tuned, and what we're going to do is interview some people, and I'm glad to be in D.C. where everything is happening. My family was actually here, my wife and my children. We were on the mall at the inauguration. We actually stood there and watched Obama speak. And it's great because I want my kids to be able to talk about Obama 20 years from now. And if they decided to run for office, it's possible now. they can talk about their experiences here this week. So we're going to go ahead and start talking to some students. Okay, with us is Erica Patterson from Georgia.
Yes.
Erica is a Howard University student.
Yes, I am.
This must be a beautiful time to be at Howard, huh?
Oh, it is. It's great. I mean, the feeling here with Barack Obama being here in D.C., it's just overwhelming. I mean, being at the inauguration yesterday, I almost cried. It was my first time, but I just felt like it's a new day. Like, it is honestly a time for change where we are actually going to see some improvement within the United States, and it's just not about white people, about black people, but everybody together.
How did you feel? It was cold. It was freezing. How did you feel yesterday? When you actually heard his speech, did you learn anything? Was anything new? How is that going to motivate you, or the direction he is going to take the country?
Basically, when he began talking about making sure, my main thing that I was more so concerned about was the school, the teachers, because I'm from Georgia and we're number 49 within education, and education is so important to me. I have a 14-year-old sister, and for her to actually have a chance to learn, to be able to be a doctor, a lawyer, that is so important to me. And when he said that he's going to make sure that every child has an education, that these teachers are going to be paid to go in the ghetto and teach these students, I mean, not just the ghetto, but everywhere, I mean, I couldn't do nothing but want to go up there and give him a big hug. Thank you.
You know what? Let me say this to you. It's good for him to put the money in the school system, yes, but the mentality has to change.
True. The people, and one thing he said, what was the guy's name who did the benediction? He said white will do right, yellow will be mellow, red will get ahead, and brown will stay around. He is just saying that these people are going to start doing right, especially with the money, because with the Bush administration, he's old. I feel like because he's older, he's making sure that the money going to be there for him and his family. But Barack is making sure the money is going to be there for everyone, for schools, for Social Security, health care. I mean, just everything that we need to survive as a people.
What is Georgia? Where are you from again in Georgia?
Stone Mountain, Georgia, the suburbs.
Okay, Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Yeah.
What is Stone Mountain, Georgia is going to do for Obama?
You know what? Stone Mountain, Georgia has supported Obama from beginning to end. My mother actually was in one of his precincts where he was at, and they served spaghetti. They made sure the people had food to eat. The volunteers that came out to make sure that people were voting. And Stone Mountain is going to support Barack Obama. We're going to make sure that the changes are implemented and they're implemented correctly.
Ouch.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to say?
I just want to say that I love Barack Obama and God bless America.
My perspective on Obama, I remember seeing him sitting in the stands watching the parade, like right during Howard's band, and it just looked like this whole new era. Like I feel like the bar's been lifted for me as a black man, but barriers have been broken for us as a country. Stuff like that, like especially on such a monumental day. It's like Martin Luther King got a birthday present after his birthday, you know, a little bit late, but he still got it. Outside of that, I'm happy he's the president, man.
You from Buffalo, right, Will?
Buffalo, New York.
What is Buffalo going to do to continue Obama's legacy, to help him through his administration?
This is a hard question, man. Buffalo's, when I checked last time in 2005, Buffalo was the 7th most segregated city in the country, as in blacks live in the east, lower class whites and blacks like Irish and all them live in the south, the upper class Italians and Polish live in the north, the west side is fully Hispanics and such. I think I think especially like this has been a barrier breaking time for, like this whole decade's been barrier breaking because we had our first black mayor back in 2006 who's also up for, he's being considered to take Hillary Clinton's position in a Senate. Byron Brown. I knew him since I was a child. I was campaigning him 2 years old, walking around saying, "Could you vote for my Uncle Byron?" I think it's a great thing that all these barriers are being broken, and that it's like everyone in the world can see that, you know, after 400 years of being deemed inferior, they understand that we're all equal. No one's superior than the other.
Thank you. That is correct. Is there anything else you want to say?
I want to say hi to my mom, my dad, my uncle.
Thanks, Will. Morgan from Florida, Howard University student. You went to the inauguration yesterday?
Yes, sir, I did.
How did you feel then, and how do you feel now?
Being there, I wasn't actually as close as I would like to be, but I was still in the midst of all the energy, and I felt that Obama was very well spoken, and I felt like he was speaking directly, to me as he was giving his speech. And right now, I guess after hearing him speak, I feel empowered to, come back here on campus and maybe do some things a little differently as far as doing more community service and too, as me being an ROTC cadet, I guess I'm very glad to have him as, chief. So basically, he's my new boss. So I'm excited about that. It's always good to have a nice boss. So, yeah.
What time did you go down there?
I left at 6 o'clock this morning, and the metro was full, so it was kind of hectic getting there because there was so many people that the metro was only going like one cart by one cart. So yeah, it took about maybe 2 hours. So I got there maybe about a little after 8. So it was, yeah, it was expected, but and all the people were really nice, that were from out of town. So it wasn't too
very peaceful.
Yeah, they were. It seemed like everyone was united and everyone could come together for this historical day. So
well, I think Barack Obama is really just a sign that America really is making progress. And being from New Orleans, Louisiana, I think that I've seen some of the worst elements of our government. Whether you want to call it racist or just whatever. The response to Hurricane Katrina and just responses to other disasters like it haven't been effective. And I think that Barack Obama brings something new to the table just from the perspective of even if he doesn't come and fix all of the problems that America has right now, it's a sign that change really is coming and progress really is being made, that people can look past someone's skin color, which has really been a hang-up in America for hundreds of years, and elect him to be their leader. I think that it says that we really are making progress.
Okay, one quick question. Do you believe that Obama is going to release the money to rebuild New Orleans?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know that Obama is going to be just maybe the savior that everyone makes him out to be, and just speaking in a general perspective, I don't know if that's what he's going to do. But once again, I think that Obama's true value isn't necessarily in being this savior of America, but more so a step in the right direction, and that progress is being made.
Hi, my name is Stephen Martin, and I am in med school at Howard University, and from Virginia. And for me, what Barack Obama means, it's kind of just, when you talk about hope that he represents, he's someone who knew what he could do in life and knew what he wanted to get to and did everything in his power to do it. And for me, it kind of takes away any chance, it takes away excuses. At this point in our history, in our country, if you want to be somewhere, you can get there no matter what color or race or religion you happen to be. You can get to where you want to be, and that's kind of a cool thought, especially because, as he said in his speech 60 years ago, we couldn't even eat in some restaurants. So that's kind of what he represents, kind of strive for excellence.
Quick question. First, where are you from? And second, in the medical field, what do you think Obama is going to contribute to the field?
I'm from Herndon, Virginia, which is about 20 minutes away from D.C. And as far as medicine directly, I think that he's going to offer, already in the government there's some programs to allow a lot of people who don't have money to gain certain things like dialysis if you're in kidney failure. He will offer that kind of program, I believe, to a more broad range of illnesses that people might have that currently, if you don't have money, you can't get the treatment for.
How do you feel about stem cell research? Do you think the Obama administration will be different from the Bush administration in terms of expanding the use of stem cells?
I think that Barack Obama and his administration and just the theories that go behind what he represents will have more of a open mind towards all the different possibilities in addressing diseases. And I think that the Bush administration, just based on the ideology that elected him, they wouldn't even consider some things, and I think that's kind of an ignorant way to go about things, and I don't think Barack Obama will have that kind of approach.
Okay, Connecticut, this is me, Ivan Alsme, from Washington, D.C., Howard University. This is the place to be. I am proud to be where history is being made. And you've just heard from people from all over the world. Well, America, Louisiana, Florida, New York, Virginia, and these people are excited about this new era. I am excited, and you should be too. Until next time, have a good time. Be part of the Obama community. Bye.
Well, welcome back. That was very, very interesting, and it was good to see Ivan back on what is essentially his show. We're joined now on the phone by the assistant principal at Danbury High School, Tim Salem. Mr. Salem.
Yes, sir.
You were at the inauguration. You had a group from Danbury High School and Bethel High School jointly went down. You had a total of 40 kids. What were your reaction to this historic event?
It was just incredible, and I personally felt extremely fortunate to have been there, been a part of it, and with the students there in attendance and some of the colleagues from both Danbury and Bethel. Just a phenomenal experience altogether. Yeah. I agree with everybody else who's been there. It was bitterly cold, but outside of that, it was just a really festive atmosphere. We got there just in time on Sunday for the start of the concert, and just the energy from that event carried over for the next few days. So just an unbelievable opportunity.
What were the reaction of your students as you sort of digested the event on the bus? And I guess you were down there for 4 or 5 days. What was their reaction?
I think all of them were very similar to how I just described. I think all of them were just in awe of the event, and I think also the sheer numbers of people being down there was just incredible. I've never been around that many people in such a small area. And, even when we were walking on our way that morning, and we got down there fairly early. We were down there by 4:30 in the morning. People at 4:30 in the morning were festive and happy, and, you would regularly just bump into people because there were so many individuals, and everybody was just really laid back about it, and the kids just kind of, I think, drank it all in and
Wow.
really enjoyed themselves.
And who did you bump into?
That was.
Did you see Barbara there?
Of all people, there's 2.5 million people or thereabouts, and we turned around at one point and we saw Willie Knight and Barbara and Lynn Taversack. It was just incredible to be able to turn around and see somebody from Danbury.
Well, listen, we want you to come in and we want to do a whole show on this, but thank you very much for calling in. They're telling me we have to break now.
Oh.
But Assistant Principal at Danbury High School, Tim Salem, Barbara Levitt, Al Robinson, thank you very much. It was a historic time, the inauguration of Barack Obama. Join us next week when we may have State Senator Tony Boucher, but we'll see. Thanks for joining us on Ideas at Work and Beyond, and we'll see you next time.